Prime factor trees. Prime factor trees, or cherry trees as I like to refer to them, are used to find the product of prime factors of a number. This is exactly what the name suggests, a number broken down into prime numbers which when you multiply together give you that number. In an exam, you'll be simply asked to find the product of prime factors of a number, or sometimes you will use a prime factor tree to find the HCF or LCM, which you will see in a later clip. Let's look at this question. Find the product of prime factors of the number 168. Now to do this, we'll use the prime factor tree, or as I like to call it, the cherry tree. To start, we need to think of a prime number which will divide into 168. It's always best to start with the smallest prime number, which is 2. If you can't divide by 2, then try 3, 5, and 7, and so on. Now, for 168, it is divisible by 2, so that becomes our first branch. 2 divides into 168 84 times. On the tree, you always circle the prime numbers, and they are your cherries. Once you have a cherry, the branch stops there. Our first cherry is 2. We then continue with the 84. Now again, always try and start with the first prime number, which is 2. 2 does divide into 84 42 times. So we have another cherry. We keep going. 2 divides into 42 21 times. Here we have 2, which is a cherry. 21. 2 doesn't work. So let's try the next number, which is 3. Yes, that works. So 3 divides into 21 7 times. So here, once again, we circle our cherry, number 3, prime number. Oh, 7 is also prime, so we also circle that number. And the branch finishes there too. So this is my final answer. So my cherries, or my prime factors, are 2, 2, 2, 3, and 7. These are the prime factors of the number 168, and once we insert a multiplication sign, another word for multiplication is product, we have the product of prime factors of the number 168. Now if we multiply these 5 numbers together, now whenever you multiply numbers together, it's always a good idea to start with the biggest number. So we multiply these 5 numbers together. So we have 7 times 3, which is 21. 21 times 2, which is 42. 42 times 2, which is 84. And 84 times 2, which is 168. We get our original number of 168. This is our final answer. Alternatively, we could also write it as 2 to the power of 3 times 3 times 7. Let's have a look at this next example, 330. So as before, I always try and start with 2. That's my smallest prime number. Now 2 does divide into 330, so that divides into 330 165 times. 2 is a cherry, so I will circle that. 165. Now 2 doesn't divide into 165, so let's move to 3. Yes, 3 does. Once again, we circle that prime number. 3 divides into 165 55 times. Okay, then 2 doesn't go into 55, 3 doesn't go into 55, 5 does. So 5 goes into 55 11 times. Again, 5 is a prime number, so we circle that. Oh, so is 11. so you also circle that. And that is when your tree finishes. So my product of prime factors of the number 330 is 2 times 3 times 5 times 11. Now just check that again. Check that whenever you multiply the four numbers together, you do get indeed 330. Always start with the biggest number. So 11 times 5 is 55. 55 times 3 is 165. And 165 times 2 is 330. So yes, that is correct. That is the product of prime factors of the number 330. Now it's your turn to try some questions. Pause the video and have a go. How did you get on? Here are the answers. If you answered any incorrectly, have a look back through the video and then try again.